3.2 external projects. I began to reflect at the beginning of 3.2 and started to think about what I'd achieved in 3.1, where my sample making was concerned. There's lots of colour, there's lots of materials and tactility, and a lot of this research and sample making aimed to attract, through research, audiences, and thereby I use the body as a platform. So, working through the exercises with 3.2 external projects, I felt that my work does relate very well. I like the idea that I would want my work to be drawn in by an audience, and I found the information through the exercises very informative, and there were areas where I could relate to that would possibly put a foundation and establish my textile practice, bringing it more to the surface and making it more in depth with its research and obviously the developments of sample making. For my case study, I began to look through some new research and found some very interesting collaborations, external projects outside, projects that were inside, projects that made connections with education, and also there was a lot of external projects which involved children. Now, I would like to, as an audience, attract adults and children, but I think my focus is as well wanting to make connections with adult, because the new line of inquiry that I'm following is play. It still connects with dyslexia, and now the discipline is knitted textiles. Researching all of these three areas, there have been lots of connections and so forth with cognitive and neurological therapy as such. So I would like to focus a little bit more in depth and make it more adult play. Because the other line of inquiry that interests me is also, after I've made a sample, how somebody engages with their own creativity and their own ideas, thoughts, and processes, and what they could do. Now, Kaz Holman has been a point of interest for me, which I have followed through as a case study. And her work is all based around the idea of play, but playing with toys. And it engages with play that's unstructured, imaginative, and creative play. And this is something that I want to try and push forward with my textile practice and look at areas of redeveloping some old work, making new work, and really pushing it out forward for some new collaborative ideas for external projects. I've also built up an archive or a file. I have contacts with Kidderminster Carpet Museum. Being a hairdresser, I've got a range of clients who are artists, a designer that works for Brinton's. So there's lots of research for me to go out there and find and make inquiries. And most recently, I've been in talks with an ex-OCA Fine Art student, Steve Cousins, who also is dyslexic, and I would be interested in possibly making or meeting up with him via a Zoom meeting and possibly working with some ideas and on collaboration. I know that he's got a lot of experience, and I would like to feed off his experience, and who knows, maybe suggest textiles and fine art as a collaboration, just to see what we could possibly come up with some throwing backwards and forwards of new ideas. Under discussion with my new tutor, I have decided that my direction of my work is design based. I have a tendency to move away from the aspect of fine art. It's a little bit too deep for me, but I have started 3.2 external projects with returning to some work with dyslexia in the school report, because the colour red is still important for dyslexia awareness. And also, as well, I did want to engage with just finalising some emotional aspects, but actually some new work did arise from that. I looked into the theory of knitting and the gauge, which was stimulated by the school report after researching and playing with the idea of destroy for joy. I got great pleasure out of breaking up some school reports with comments made by teachers, which were very negative. But the mixed media really helped that. Plaster of Paris overlaid with knit. They were delicate, but also at the same time, they were quite strong. So there are lots of ideas so far, and I am just completing project 2. But I think I would like to still work backwards and forwards with 3.1 and then move forward with 3.2 with the engagement of new research, new ideas, new developments of sample making, but potentially still working with dyslexia, knitted textiles and mixed media, and the new theme of what is play.